Greetings, everyone. This is Brother Ravana Noon back once again. And today's topic will be Kali and how to use Kali in the left hand path and the powers of Kali. First of all, we have to really dive deeply into who Kali is. That's the most essential part, is to really understand on the left hand path the archetype. Some call them gods, goddesses, deities, devis, Orisha, Netaru, etc., etc., etc. Essentially, these are archetypes. Archetypes are metaphors that represent aspects of your personality, powers, attributes, and things of that nature that you could adhere to or reach to. But it was created by the collective unconscious, which is why you will find that you have gods and goddesses throughout different cultures, throughout different times, that have many qualities and similarities. It's a collective unconscious metaphor for these gods and goddesses created by the collective unconscious mind. So when you work with an archetype, you're working with the archetype essentially to tap into your subconscious mind, which is where most of your crap is stored. When you tap into your subconscious mind, what you're doing is utilizing the symbolism of the archetype to help activate parts of your subconscious mind that have been buried or stored with these same symbolic attributes, personalities, events, situations related to that archetype. So, for example, I may have had trauma in my past life. I may have obstacles. And I need to overcome these obstacles and traumas and things of that nature. Well, I would have to find an archetype that symbolizes destroying or overcoming those things that have been detrimental to my life and have been holding me back, so that I can take those weaknesses and make them into a strength that can better be utilized in my life. Now, when it comes to Kali, if we represent the aspects of Kali, the way you really understand if you represent those same aspects is by doing a thorough investigation and research on Kali or any other archetype before you begin any ritual work. This is what is important, what is necessary in the left hand path. So Kali represents the disintegrative force in nature, as displayed in the passage of time, or known in Sanskrit as Kala, or increase of entropy. Kali is black, but sometimes in her yantras, which are geometric symbols, it's also, the colors could be red, yellow, green, and sometimes white. Now, the important aspect is Kali is the manifestation of the Divine Mother, which represents the female principle. She destroys only to recreate, and what she destroys is our ignorance and decay. She is equated with the eternal night, and she also is related to the transcendent power of time, and is the consort of the god Shiva. And it is also believed that Shiva, who destroyed the world, Kali's power energy with which Shiva acts. Therefore, Kali is Shiva Shakti, without which Shiva could not act. Kali receives her name because she devours Kala time and then resumes her own dark formlessness. This transformative effect can be metaphorically illustrated in the West as a black hole in space. Kali as such is pure and primary reality, the unfolded order in modern physics, formless, void, yet full of potential. Kali is usually depicted as naked, bloodthirsty, and wild-haired. Records of Kali worship date back at least 2,000 years, and is widely presumed by scholars that she represents a survival through Dravidian, which is more of the black or dark skinned Hindu people or Indian people who have been traced back by some archaeologists and some historians all the way to the land of Kush, also known as Nubia, which is also related to Ethiopia, Somalia, and places of that nature. She is thought of as a great creatrix, and she is and has always belonged to the original culture of that land, which were dark-skinned people. And so she is related more to Dravidians because the Aryan culture would never raise a female deity to a higher rank or as high rank as male deity. So, in one way, her fierce passion is also symbolic of her defending her dark-skinned people against the invading Aryans. So keep that in mind. Now, the manifestation of the goddess as Kali is the most shocking appearance. She is usually depicted standing on the prostrate body of Shiva, who is lying on a lotus bed. She has absorbed the inexorably of Rudra and Shiva as Bhairava. Yet there is both life and death in this form of the Divine Mother. The name Kali comes from the Sanskrit word Kala, or time. She is the power of time which devours all. She has a power that destroys and should be depicted in awe-inspiring terror. Kali is found in the cremation ground amid dead bodies. She is standing in a challenging posture on the prostrate body of her husband, Shiva. Kali cannot exist without him, and Shiva can't reveal himself without her. She is the manifestation of Shiva's power and energy. While Shiva's complexion can be sometimes depicted as an ash covered state, at one time Shiva was also depicted as dark skinned. Kali is the color of the darkest of night. She can be depicted as very dark black or deep bluish black. As the limitless void, Kali has swallowed up everything without a trace. Hence, she is black. Kali's luxuriant hair is disheveled, which symbolizes her boundless freedom. It's important to understand because when a woman's hair is disheveled in this culture, we're looking at her as unkept. But in that culture, she was looked upon as a woman who had busted out of man or male's control, and she was free from their control, from their judgment, from their restrictions, and from their imposed cultural limitations. So when you see that disheveled hair, that's her busting loose from man's bullcrap. Kali is also depicted as having 3 eyes. The third one stands for wisdom. Kali's tongue is protruding, a gesture of coyness because she unwittingly stepped on the body of her husband Shiva. A more philosophical interpretation of Kali's tongue is that it symbolizes rajas, or the color red activity, and that is held by her teeth, symbolizing sattva, the color white, which is spirituality. Kali has 4 arms. The posture of her right arm promises fearlessness and boons, while her left arms hold a bloody sword and a freshly severed human head. Some looking at Kali's right see good, and others looking at her left evil, but it is more a case of yang and yin, positive and negative, dark and bright, earth and heaven. Kali is portrayed as naked, except for a girdle of human arms cut off at the elbow and a garland of 50 skulls. The arms represent the capacity for work, and Kali wears all work, action, potential work, and results thereof around her waist. The 50 skulls represent the 50 letters of the Hindu alphabet, the manifest state of sound from which all creation evolved. Now, Kali's nudity has a similar meaning. In many instances, she is described as garbed in space or sky-clad. In her absolute, now this is interesting that she is described as garbed or in space or sky-clad, because when you go to the Kemetic or Kemet, the Egyptian pantheon, you have Nut, who's also garbed in space or sky-clad. In her absolute Kali, in her absolute primordial nakedness, she is free from all covering of illusion. She is nature, Prakriti in Sanskrit, stripped of clothes. It is symbolized that she is completely beyond name and form, completely beyond the illusory effects of Maya, which is false consciousness or illusion. Her nudity is said to represent totally illumined consciousness, unaffected by Maya. Kali is the bright fire of truth, which cannot be hidden by the clothes of ignorance. Such truth simply burns them away. Despite Kali's origins in battle, she evolved to a full-fledged symbol of Mother Nature in her creative, nurturing, and devouring aspects. Some groups of people unfamiliar with Kali see her as a satanic demon, but that's mostly depicted because of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The goddess Kali is represented as black in color. Black represented the feminine Kala, which is time, but the feminine form is Kali, so she is Kali, the black one. Kala also represented blackness, or the color blackness. Black is a symbol of the infinite and the seed stage of all colors. The goddess Kali remains in a state of inconceivable darkness that transcends words and mind. Within her blackness is the dazzling brilliance of illumination. Illumination in this case is intellect. Y'all need to get out of your heads this whole light worship, light. The light, go into the light, love the light, merge into the light. See, you're being fooled. Light is limited. Light in the occult, for those who know, represents intellect. Just the knowledge and the wisdom that can be found within the darkness. But all permeates in darkness. Everything was birthed in darkness. You were born in the dark womb, or conceived, I should say, in the dark womb of your mother. Okay? Darkness. Everything around us is darkness. True power comes from darkness. So in time, Kali, just like any other female archetype or any archetype that was dark and strong and powerful, black received a negative connotation, and we got away from the reality of darkness being power. The most powerful form of magic is dark magic or black magic. Don't get it twisted. I challenge anybody who deals with light or white magic and quickly show them that without the dark, that light does not exist. Darkness exists without light. Look into the universe, study science. You will understand that. 93% of the universe is dark matter, dark energy. Only 7% is light. Darkness is eternal. Darkness is abundant. Light is limited. Understand that fact, and you understand what the power of darkness really represents. Tapping into the black hole or the black womb, tapping into the original source, original power of all life in that black hole, stems in darkness, not in light. When you tap into that black hole, that black womb, that black power, the original darkness, you're tapping into the most potent form of darkness that created all life. There's a difference. Tapping into that will awaken and expand your consciousness. Here's the problem, though. We have all, to some extent, been brainwashed to be afraid of the dark, whether it's through horror movies, whether it's through religion, whether it's through our families, to be afraid of the dark. Most of the time, the reason people are afraid of the dark is because they're afraid of themselves. What I mean by that, they're afraid of their own demons they created within their own mind. They're afraid of their own shadow. They're afraid of facing themselves, so they distract themselves with the light. The TV is always on. There's always a light on in the house somewhere, things of that nature. Afraid of the dark. But here we're going into the aspects of Kali and how Kali really symbolizes blackness and what blackness really symbolizes in regards to Kali. Kali's blackness symbolizes her all-embracing, comprehensive nature because black is the color in which all the colors merge. Black absorbs and dissolves them. Black is a devouring aspect. This is related to the vampiric magic and the vampiric qualities of Kali, which is absorbing, consuming, taking in all energy to empower and to strengthen oneself and to charge oneself up to be even more potent. Kali's black color also symbolizes her transcendence of form, all form. Kali is a great and powerful black earth mother goddess capable of terrible destruction and represents the most powerful form of the female forces in this universe. Let me say that again slowly from my notes. Kali is a great and powerful black earth mother goddess capable of terrible destruction and represents the most powerful form of the female forces in the universe. Worship of the goddess Kali is largely an attempt to appease her and avert her wrath. Now, we in the West and even throughout the world have been made to be afraid of our own powers. What do I mean by that? Rage. Rage. Most of us have been taught to be afraid of our own rage, our own anger, and our own emotions. Sure, emotions unchecked can become dangerous. Rage unchecked can become dangerous. But you have to understand that in order to understand the power of rage, you have to submerge yourself in rage. But before you submerge yourself in rage, you have to learn discipline and control. I wouldn't suggest just submerging yourself in rage and letting loose if you've never learned how to cultivate and harness that rageful power. Rage can be utilized for overcoming obstacles. It can be utilized for punching down the walls that you built up around yourself or society or culture or religion has built up around you. So on the left-hand path, we embrace our rage. We cultivate our rage and harness that raw primal power. The goddess Kali constantly drinks blood. Now, drinking blood is not what you think. This is all symbolic. In the blood is the life force. Some call it prana. Some call it chi. And some even may call it sechem. It's a life force. When she is shown symbolically drinking blood, she is absorbing the life force of humans, of demons, or anything else. She is empowering herself and becoming stronger. See, man is afraid of that. Male beings are afraid of that because the stronger a woman becomes, the weaker he becomes because his frailties and his conditioning and his programming as if he's such a brute, strong person is actually revealed that he is really a frail human being. A lot of times, this is what you have when you uncover a man. A lot of the loudest man in the room, the most boisterous man in the room, the one who talks the most crap, especially before a fight, is the weakest and most cowardice of them all. They're the ones who hide behind their so-called masculinity, but when that's stripped away, you see that they really are nothing more than scared. The one who talks the most crap is the one who usually can't fight. That's why they're talking, because they're trying to psych you out as if they know something. A real warrior has no need for words. A real warrior will just slice your head off or take you out. Period. There's no need to talk. Talking is a distraction, is a diversion from the work at hand. So remember this part. So when you see Kali, she's absorbing the blood, the life force in the blood, and becoming stronger. As the mistress of blood, Kali presides over the mysteries of both life and death. Kali intends her bloody deeds for the protection of others. She may get carried away by her gruesome acts, but don't equate her to the religious versions and spiritual and metaphysical versions of good or bad, bad or evil, wrong or right. None of that shit exists. If you go into the Kybalion, if you go to the seven principles of Tahuti or Hermes, you will see that polarities are not real. Duality is not real. They're just varying degrees of the same thing. And it's how you perceive that and how it affects your life that you will interpret that as good or bad. In essence, there is no good or bad. That's a religious mindset. And if you still adhere to that, you're still under religious control, religious conditioning. I don't care how occultist you are, how witchy you are, how sorcerous you are. If that is some way, shape, form, or fashion in your mind, you're a religious fool. Sorry, but I call it like I see it. Been walking this path much too long, way too long, to go back to those religious restrictions and conditioning of society. Kali's destructive energies on the highest level are seen as the vehicle of salvation and ultimate transformation. Kali has three main forms that are manifested in various ways in the three divisions of the year, the three phases of the moon, and the three sections of the cosmos, heaven, earth, and the underworld. Three stages of life, the three trimesters of pregnancy, and so on. Women represent her spirit in mortal flesh. The Divine Mother first appears in and as her worshipper's earthly mother, then as his wife. Thirdly, as Kalika, she reveals herself in old age, disease, and death. Black is Kali's fundamental color as the destroyer, for it symbolizes the formless condition she assumes between creations, when all the elements are dissolved in her primordial substance. Important right here what's coming up. As Kundalini, the female serpent, she resembles the archaic Egyptian serpent mother, said to have created the world. It was said of Kundalini that at the beginning of the universe, she starts to uncoil in a spiral line movement, which is the movement of creation. The spiral line was vitally important in late Paleolithic and Neolithic religious symbolism, representing death and rebirth as movement into the disappearing point of formlessness and out of it again to a new world of form. Kali is considered to be the most fully realized of all the dark goddesses, but even though Kali was originally worshipped as a warrior goddess, and her followers gave her offerings of blood and flesh, her followers still find her greatest strength to be that of a protector. So understand, Kali is not only a destroyer or warrior, but Kali is a protector. Understand these symbolisms when you're working with archetypes. And understand the ritual and what the intent of that ritual is and how it benefits and works with you. So if you are lacking a protective nature, you may want to activate that through working with Kali. Kali is not always that of a dark goddess. She's sometimes depicted as a loving primordial mother, which is another aspect of her. Kali is also associated with intense sexuality. Myths, there's many myths that tell of the yoni, vagina of Kali, when she existed as Sati, wife of Lord Shiva, falling down to the earth on a sacred hill near Gauhati in Assam, India, the same place where the temple of Kamakaya is now located. The temple's outer walls are highly decorated with carvings showing Kali as a triple goddess, squatting and exposing her yoni, vagina, as a mother suckling her child, and as a warrior woman drawing back her bow. While these carvings show Kali as a sexual being, they also show her as a protective and motherly woman full of compassion. So there's different aspects. The problem is when we here in the West hear about feminine energy, we consider this last part of her being protective and motherly woman full of compassion. The West has done a great job and it has influenced the rest of the world to deny or hide that warrior aspect of the female and that sexual aspect of the female. It is called male dominance and suppression of the female force and the female power, because if the female was to raise up as a Kali, as a Sekhmet, as a Heteru, as a Lilith, women will start to really make a change in this society, in this world, and her power would be uncontrollable only by them. See, that's the fear of men, because if you can't control a woman, he becomes frail and scary. That's what most men are like. Me, however, I help promote and bring forth that warrior and sexual aspect of a goddess, utilizing the Kali or the Lilith energy, the Sekhmet energy, the Heteru energy, the Oshun energy, the Oya energy, the Maman Barjit energy, so on and so forth. It's not about suppression, y'all. It's about activation. It's about bringing forth that true power, so that she can help activate the true power in man, whether it's Shiva, whether it's Ta, whether it's Shango, whether it's Ogun, whether it's many different aspects. Samael, Lucifer, bringing that forth. She has the energy to activate that power within man. Kali is also known as the Dark Mother, the triple goddess of creation, protection, and destruction. Now most commonly known in her destroyer aspect, she is very often depicted as squatting over her dead consort Shiva and devouring his entrails, while her yoni sexually devours his lingam penis. Yeah. Kali is the hungry earth which devours its own children and fattens on their corpses. It is in India that the experience of the terrible mother has been given its most grandiose form as Kali. For in a profound way, life and birth are always bound up with death and destruction. Like I said, they're all varying degrees and vibrations of the same thing. Stop trying to get away and create this bullcrap and a soft version of a female. Create this bullcrap, good, bad, evil, creation, destruction is all necessary. Death, life, all necessary. Sex, necessary. All part of life. And if you try to take away any aspect of that, you're taking a person and making them into a slave. Kali's paramount place of worship is in the creation. Kali's primary place of worship is the cremation grounds of the cemeteries. This is one reason why I utilize Kali in so many different fashions in my work. I use her for the power of destruction, the power of rage, the power of transformation, the power of sexuality. But I also use her in the power of necromancy, because that is one of my main forms of magical sorcery I work with. Kali is connected with cremation grounds or the cemeteries. And when you work with Kali, utilizing the spirits that have deceased, there's tremendous power in that work. Here in the cremation ground, her nature becomes clear and apparent. For an adept in the workings, the whole world is a cremation ground. And she, the true form of time, who by herself creates and destroys all, is personified. There, after life, all mortals and their wishes, dreams, and reflections come to their fruition, a pile of worthless ashes. Kali's dwelling place, the cremation ground, donates a place where the 5 elements are dissolved. Kali dwells where this dissolution takes place. In terms of devotion and worship, this denotes the dissolving of attachments, anger, lust, and other binding emotions, feelings, ideas. Now, let me clarify this part. Anger, lust can and should be utilized on the left-hand path to strengthen yourself. Now, it can weaken you if you have no discipline and no willpower to control anger in its most unleashed state or lust in its most unleashed state. In the left-hand path, we live by the principle of indulgence. We indulge in our desires, but we indulge in our desires with a willed and controlled state, not a state of free-for-all and total recklessness, because then you're no better than anybody else. On the left-hand path, we learn to master the lust and utilize it with controlled will to indulge in our desires. Kali, who's one of the most powerful dark goddesses, is in charge of darkness, death, and regeneration. Many people fear her because she is so awesome looking, but other cultures and other people and Hindus love and adore her as their great goddess, and they see her as a manifestation of power that is fierce and potent. She is Shakti, female energy, incarnate and manifestation of primordial power. While she is a consort of the great Lord Shiva, she is also seen dancing wildly with this form beneath her feet, which is Shiva being underneath her feet. They are partners in darkness and in dancing, the dance of death and regeneration. She brings life and death. She is regeneration and rebirth. Understand, when I work my rituals on the left-hand path, I utilize the symbolism of Kali. I utilize the symbolism of working with Kali. I don't worship Kali. I don't grovel to Kali because Kali is not real. She does not exist. I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings and you're a worshiper and a groveler, but on the left-hand path, you are the only God. There is no other God but you. There is no external worship. There's no external feeding of your energy to things that are not real, cannot be proven, or cannot be seen. Sure, your mind can create the image of Kali if that's what you want enough. And there's many depictions of Kali, and you choose one of those to manifest her in your dreams or in your workings. But in reality, many of the times when you see a Kali manifest physically, it is a spirit, deceased spirit that knows that this is your greatest desire, can tap into your subconscious mind and manifest as Kali to get something they want done, and in return try to help you out with something you want. But many times, people can be deceived and fooled by that. I don't work with spirits enough to see the trickery and treachery they can perform on other people, including myself at times. They've done this in the past, until I learn more control, more willpower, and command power over these spirits. But Kali, in essence, is fueled by our astral energy through our conscious or collective unconscious minds, creating these archetypes, these symbols, and these images. And we tap into that astral energy that has been fed for thousands of years to empower ourselves. But we're utilizing that power to make it manifest from our subjective realm into our objective realm. So when I work with Kali and I'm trying to regenerate myself, I can do a ritual for that regeneration. If I'm trying to destroy, I can create a mantra magic ritual where I have a statue or image of Kali, center stage on my altar. I utilize the colors of black and red, which are two colors of strong colors primarily used in Kali workings. And I have the candles on either side of her statue or images. I light incense, primarily sandalwood or frankincense or things of that nature. Whatever you feel as well, you throw that into the mix. I do my libations if that's necessary, or I'll take my Florida water and pour it over the Kali statue, purifying the energy. Not worshiping the statue, cleansing the statue, purifying the energy so that my intent has a clear focus that has no energies that can disrupt. And then if I want to perform a mantra of destruction, of course you should have your japa mala, which is also called your mantra beads, 108 preferably, and I will begin to chant Om Cream Kali, which is a mantra of destruction. And the more I chant this, the more I'm looking at Kali and the symbolism of Kali and what does symbolism represent, the more it activates those aspects within myself and my subconscious mind to go deeper in the underworld, deeper into my subconscious mind. Watch the movie Inception again to see how deep your subconscious mind can go. There's layers upon layers upon layers that we add to this. And I utilize Om Cream Kali, chanting this repetitively, not just 108 times, but 1,000, 10,000 times. The more you do it, the deeper you go into your subconscious mind. And I use the destructive power of Kali to overcome any obstacles, blockages, or things that have been self-made or placed within my mind. And I continue to do this ritual repetitively till I get more and more results. Not just one time, so it didn't work, so I give up. Well, of course it didn't work. You just did it one time and you expect 40, 50, 30, 20 years of bullcrap, of programming, of conditioning, of trauma to just disappear off of one ritual. You're fooling yourself. It takes time. This is a repetitive act that takes time, especially depending on your age. It may take a longer time than you suspect or expect. So I utilize that when I work within my rituals because this is the usage of archetypes in your rituals. Specifically today we're discussing Kali and the power of utilizing Kali. Now, in many ways, Kali is the consummate representation of the classic power of the divine female, the power to give birth, to bring death, to the old, and to regenerate. Her haunts are the cremation grounds where she takes life and then recycles it into new life. Her symbol for cutting away at ignorance, pure ignorance, is utilized by the symbol of the curved sword or dagger to behead humans. But what this image is really representing is the cutting away of our stupidity, our ignorance, our pain, our trauma, our wounds, and anything that blocks us, that has kept us from reaching our potential. She eats our pain, swallows despair, and secret shadows of our lives, meaning that energy, that symbolism is helping you go deep into your subconscious to take away that pain, to take away that despair, and the secrets that you hold and bring to the surface. Deal with it, face it, confront it, and then utilize some of those weaknesses by making them into strengths to utilize and going forth in your life. Kali is a goddess who acts in violent, gruesome, fearsome ways, killing as her main function, yet she's not evil in the sense of your religious constraints and religious mindset. She is a representation of negative forces in the universe, which really do not exist. They're just varying vibrations and degrees, the same thing, and it is how we perceive them. Those forces, and let's just use that term because that's what people know, negative forces can be utilized on the left-hand path just as much as so-called positive forces. Negative forces sometimes have better effect and profound result than positive forces. Because we're so afraid and so taught to run from the negative that you're really running from yourself and your own issues and your own problems. I hear constantly these fucking, excuse my language, these freaking conscious, fluffy fools. Oh, I don't let negativity in my life. You're not letting anything to your life because the negativity didn't come from outside of you. The negativity came from inside you because there's negative qualities that you're going to have. And unless you deal with that, you're always going to attract this negative energy, negative quality. That's why some of y'all, I laugh because I hear y'all say, oh, I'm such a positive being. I don't understand why I keep attracting negative people. Hello? You're not attracting them because you're so positive. You're attracting them because you're delusional about your negativity and your negative energy that you are withholding and in basically cultivating within your mind, your subconscious mind. Cut it out, people. I just don't get it. You want to be so positive that you forget that all of this can be utilized in your ritual working, can be utilized in your sorcery, in your magic, in your everyday affairs. Positive and negative are necessary because in reality, their vibrational degrees are the same thing. So when you understand that fact, you use any current necessary for your growth. Any current. That's alchemy. Transmutation, taking one thing and transmuting it into something else. Taking so-called negative and turning it into so-called positive. Turning something positive into so-called negative depending on the situation and how you need it. Let's say you had an enemy and this enemy was turning physically violent towards you. You're going to just pray it away. You're just going to meditate it away and say, I'm only going to be positive. I'm not going to let the negativity in. The negativity is already inside your house. It's already banging down the door, banging on your head, ready to take your life. You can't meditate that and positively make it go away. You're going to have to meet that with negative force and energy to destroy it. Two negatives can create a positive situation. A negative and a positive create negatives. Understand basic mathematics at that too. So you gotta understand when you're working, understand these things and how you're working, it will make more sense. Kali is a goddess who acts in violent, gruesome, fearsome ways, killing as her main function, yet she is not evil. Yet even then, even though she may represent negative forces, which are not really true, she's a manifest form of the Godhead, a part of the true whole. Kali's one aspect is still a mother of all and a destructive warrior goddess. She is revered as a terrible, fearsome goddess, but is also one who must be respected in her power. Kali deals with the horrible aspects of life that most people will not think about, just like I said before. She embodies horror, rage, and fury and chaos. Kali has to be looked upon as representing that raw primal energy and how that relates to your life, and learning, just like in the story of Kali, how to master and control that energy and use it when necessary. Because she will use that horror, that rage, and that fury and chaos to overcome any obstacle blocking her path. Understand this. Chaos must exist in complement to order in the creation and maintenance of balance in the universe. Again, let me say that again. Chaos must exist. And the left-hand path will utilize chaos. If you're balanced, and you look at the symbolism of balance, which is the scales, and they're balanced, that means you're stagnant. There's no movement or growth. You're just stagnant. Chaos will come in and unbalance those scales very quick because it's chaos that causes change. It causes growth. It's not balance. You're not doing anything, going nowhere, coming, learning. You're just sitting there, balanced. It's chaos. That's why I don't use the word balance. I use the word harmony. Bringing all of this together, whether it's so-called negative, so-called positive, so-called rage, so-called love, bringing it all together in harmony. It's a difference than balance. Everybody wants to be balanced, but basically you're just saying, I want to be stagnant, learn nothing, move nothing, grow nowhere. Chaos, my friends, is necessary. It is what causes change in your life. Chaos. You need the chaos in your life. Okay? But you learn from the chaos how to control that chaos, how to use that power of chaos to bring forth a new reality in your life. You need the dark side. The dark side is prevalent. It is abundant. Stop being fooled by these light-siders, the religious fluffy people. Light is limited. 7% of the universe is light. Cut it out. I've heard this argument since I've been walking this path for many years. Many years. More than half of my life I've been walking this path. Okay? I've heard it all. But it doesn't equate to science and it doesn't equate to reality. If light side was so strong, if light magic was so strong, then why, when you need some real results, you go to a black magic practitioner, you go to a dark magic practitioner, you go to some real ferocious stuff. In Haitian voodoo, New Orleans voodoo, you don't go to the Hogan when you want some real crap done. You go to the Bokar, who's the sorcerer. Okay? When you want some real work done, you go to the sorcerer. You go to the black magic practitioner, because black magic can overcome all of that. It's the power of darkness that is utilized that people run from. So, understand this whole reality. You start to understand what Kali really represents. Kali can be a many-faceted goddess, and one of her aspects is the deity of dissolution and destruction. She's symbolic and could be associated with the Kemetic goddess, Egyptian goddess Sekhmet. She's known for destroying ignorance, and she helps to obtain true knowledge of your true self as the one God, the only God in your life. She has wild eyes, a protruding tongue, as we said earlier. She wields a bloody sword and also holds the severed head of a demon. And she often wears a belt of severed heads and garland of 50 skulls. So understand this symbolism and how it can be utilized for you. Okay? How you could use it in your workings. Kali is fearsome, she is bloody, and she is misunderstood. She is the destroyer and the manifest of the universe. She is Kali. She is time itself. Like Shiva himself, the power of Shiva and his consort, the goddess, they're represented in three main aspects: the creative, all-pervading energy, Shakti, which is also known as Kali, Rajas, the peaceful, all-pervading spatial aspect, which is Parvati, Sattva, and the destructive, all-pervading aspect, Kali, which is Tamas. When Shiva and Shakti unite, this leads to a state of agitation and unrest from which the universe springs forth. The universe is shaken, as Shakti is the power of lust, or in this case, Kali is the power of lust and enjoyment. Kali is also the power of liberation, liberation from the bonds that you've put upon yourself, that society has put upon you, that religion has put upon you, that family has put upon you, that culture, those bonds, those chains that bind us and control us. So understand how to utilize this is very important. Kali can also be found of intoxicants. Some of you are, some of you are not. It's not an evil, bad thing. Like religion would like to make you think. But don't be controlled by it, consumed by it, where it controls your life. You control it. She is also fond of lust, sexual energy, sexual power, tantra, Vamamarga Tantra, left hand path Tantra, Koala Tantra, utilizing this aspect. There were many orgiastic rituals that were performed to honor Kali. So Kali represents that raw primal sexual energy that can be utilized for transformation and growth within your life. Sex is not evil, it's not wrong. Sex should be cultivated and utilized for transformation. This is why I teach other classes on sex magic. Some of y'all hit me up, and we did our first class individually with each person. Some of y'all may never hit me up. It doesn't matter. This is not here. I don't charge. I don't make money off of this. I do this sharing by experience because I've walked this path for over 25 years. There's many things I've learned, and I just share, hoping that you may extract something that can be beneficial for you in your life. That's all that matters to me. So, when we get to Kali, we work with Kali, there's an aspect that people do not understand readily in the US and some of the Western world is the chakra system. Let me explain what I mean by this chakra system. Okay? First off, when we deal with the chakra system, we deal with many interpretations of what the chakras are. Then we incorporate it with our Western minds, Western psychology, things of that nature. But the truth is, when you go into Tantra in the East, you have many different facets. Vama Marga Tantra, which is more of the left-hand path of Tantra, which is cultivating the sexual energy, but also releasing that sexual energy in unison to cause cities, powers to be activated within oneself. Now, when you work with Kali, the Dark Mother Goddess, there's also 8 chakras that are utilized. These 8 chakras are very important in I should say bringing forth your cities, your hidden powers, hidden sorcery powers, psychic powers, and things of that nature. The more you work with Kali, the more you tap into your subconscious mind and you overcome those blockages, the more these psychic spiritual powers come forth. Lack of a better word, that's what I'll utilize. So let's begin. These 8 chakras that are utilized in working with Kali. The first chakra, chakra 1, is the fontanel chakra, which is also known as the crown chakra, the space that is here in your head that is called the soft spot or the baby spot. The fontanel chakra, which is the color of opalescent crystal, corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Kasa. This first chakra bestows the power to unite with others that are also sorceress or witchy in their ways. The power to make oneself small and effective achievement in meditation and sadhana. Chakra 2, the chakra in the middle of the forehead, the color of pure flame, corresponds to the Sanskrit letter La. With meditation on the second chakra, you gain the power to mesmerize all beings, the ability to break or project objects at a distance, and the ability to subjugate others. Now, see, this is some real stuff here because in the West, in a lot of other parts of the world, people are so hell-bent on being so sweet and nice and so loving and respect and unite with all. Bullshit. Not on this path, buddy. On this path, it's about total power and reaching your powers. And how you use it is up to you. There's no good or bad, wrong, right, evil. That's not good to do. Bullcrap. When you learn to work with that second chakra and really activate it, you can subjugate others. You can control others. Yes, that is a power and a reality that is still used to this day, in this world. Stop getting over this. That's wrong. That's so bad. Yeah, well, as long as you keep thinking that, you're going to be controlled and be enslaved by these people who want to destroy you all around the world. Chakra 3, the chakra between the eyebrows. The color of diamond corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Ha. Whoever practices frequently the method of the third grade chakra can subtly slip into someone else's body. In addition, he or she is able to see the future. You can take over somebody's body for the moment. Okay, chakra 4, the chakra of the palate and the mouth. Pink in color corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Sa. The fourth chakra is the provider of powers of calming, liberation, and voluptuousness. If you venerate this chakra, you become capable of instantly paralyzing another person. You attain the power of invisibility and the power of listening to conversations. Chakra 5, the chakra at the base of the throat. The color of smoke corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Sa. By meditating on the fifth great chakra, you are able to express yourself like a rishi, to move about like the wind, and to bring someone's conversation to a halt. Chakra 6, the chakra of the heart. The color of liquid gold corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Sa. The sixth chakra bestows teaching, power, and freedom. Chakra 7, the chakra of the navel. The color of the full moon corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Va. Whoever conducts this sadhana on the seventh chakra obtains the power to enslave others. He displays, or she displays, the ability to paralyze, to subjugate others, and to free themselves from the chains of samsara. Chapter 8, the perineal, or the sexual chakra. The color of red gold corresponds to the Sanskrit letter Hala. The eighth chakra allows anyone to cause death and to travel far away. It also bestows the power to generate paralysis and illusion in others. It also calls the power to generate sexual energy in others, to make someone lust for you and desire you. So, I'm just bringing this forth to show you that when you work on the left-hand path, when you work on the occult, the purpose of working with, let's say, an archetype like Kali, and the hidden powers that come with it. It's not all about love and unity and let's just sing Kumbaya together. That's a beautiful dream. It's about mastering yourself. It's about becoming the God of your life, the God over yourself. It's not about groveling and worshiping outside yourself and waiting for things to happen. It's about challenging yourself to become better, greater every day. It's about stepping out and taking control of your life and not waiting for some spook deity or some spook gods and goddesses to do it for you. You do it for yourself. It's about being the god or the goddess over your own life and master over your own life and controlling every facet of your life, from the subjective realm to the objective realm, from controlling and mastering your subconscious mind and stop letting it play games and tricks on you. This is what this work is all about. It's not some fruitcake, fluffy, I'm going to sit there and meditate all day and night and hope that I change my life because I'm becoming so positive, yet the negative is constantly bombarding me because I haven't changed the subconscious mind, haven't changed the inner world, the subjective world. So positive and as meditative as I am is just as much chaos as I was before I even started doing all that. Because you're not going deep within yourself, which is where the real work is at. I just saw Star Wars, and I'm a Sith all day, but there's something Yoda said that was powerful. He said, Luke, you're still at this age looking to the horizons instead of looking within yourself for the answers. Everything emanates from within you. That's where the work really takes place. Going within this subconscious mind, this unconscious mind, and changing the programming, changing the conditioning. And I gave you some practices here on a ritual and how to use the destructive force of Kali through the mantra Om Krim Kali. I've also shared with you how to tap into the chakras by meditating on each chakra and bringing forth these cities or these powers, these hidden powers that are utilized within each chakra. It's not all love and beautiful. We living in a real world where there's war taking place, and this is a psychic, spiritual, magical war. You guys to learn how to utilize the dark powers, dark energy. Stop thinking some fluffy golden light is gonna come save you. Because if that was the case, this shit would have been done a long time ago, and it's not. It's still here. Because the war is for people is to fight against the darkness when it's the darkness you need to unite with and extract powers that come with it. I may do another video later today on black magic, but we do have a class tonight on talkshoe.com. Awakening Universal Minds is the name of the show. On talkshoe.com at 9 p.m. We'll be discussing the Emerald Tablets, personal alchemy for transformation. 9 p.m. this evening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, check the email below, darkoccultist99@outlook.com. You can reach me at Google Plus page, darkoccultist99, or check out my YouTube page, press share and like. Peace.